Picture this: you're walking into a building, and out of instinct, you hold the door for the person behind you. It's a simple, automatic gesture of kindness, something ingrained in you since childhood. But instead of the expected smile or the casual thanks, you're met with a flash of annoyance, a cold stare that makes you question yourself. You're left in that awkward moment of confusion, replaying the interaction in your head. What did I do wrong? Was I not polite enough? But what if the problem wasn't that you were impolite, but that you were following a rule book that has been secretly rewritten in invisible ink? Welcome to the kindness minefield of the 21st century. The fundamental principles of good manners, respect, empathy, consideration are timeless. But the specific actions we use to express them are in a state of constant, chaotic evolution. What was once the gold standard of politeness can now, in the blink of an eye, make you seem condescending, out of touch, or even profoundly rude. This isn't about being a good or bad person. It's about navigating a treacherous social landscape where your best intentions can easily backfire, leaving you wondering if you even know how to be kind anymore. Let's start on relatively safe ground, in the world of money and status. For generations, the rules surrounding a restaurant bill were as clear as crystal. The man paid for the woman, the host paid for the guest. The senior person paid for the junior. To insist on paying was a powerful gesture of generosity, a way to demonstrate your role as a provider and protector. But today, grabbing that bill with the same confident insistence can send a jarringly different message. In an era where financial independence and gender equality are highly valued, that gesture can feel deeply condescending. The unspoken message, whether intended or not, can be, "I don't believe you are capable of paying your own way," or "I am establishing myself as the one in the position of power in this interaction." It can undermine a person's sense of autonomy. The modern, polite approach is a dance of offers, where one offers to pay, but graciously accepts if the other person prefers to split the check or treat them instead. Respect is no longer about who has the bigger wallet. It's about honoring each other's independence. Similarly, the old go-to icebreaker, "So, what do you do?" has become a social landmine. For decades, this question was the cornerstone of small talk. In a society where our jobs often defined us, it was a quick and efficient shortcut to understanding someone's life and status. But today, leading with that question can feel reductive and even intrusive. It can sound like you're conducting a social audit, trying to neatly categorize the person in front of you based on their profession and implied income level. It reduces a complex, multifaceted human being to their economic output, ignoring their passions, their family, their struggles, and their dreams. The more inclusive and engaging approach is to ask open-ended questions that invite a person to share who they are, not just what they do for a paycheck. What's been keeping you excited lately? Or what do you love to do when you're not working? These questions open a door to a real conversation, not a job interview. But while the rules of money and work have shifted, the true battleground of modern manners is the war over chivalry. This is where things get truly explosive. The classic gestures: holding a door for a woman, pulling out her chair, insisting that ladies go first, were once the sacred pillars of gentlemanly conduct. Today, these same actions exist in a dizzying state of conflict. Too many, especially those who were raised to be a Southern gentleman or who simply identify as old school, these gestures are non-negotiable expressions of profound respect. They will tell you, "My intent is to be polite," and that this is a way of honoring and protecting women that has been passed down through generations. To them, abandoning these traditions is a sign of society losing its dignity. However, to many modern women, these reflexive, gendered gestures can feel intensely patronizing. They carry the dusty, unspoken assumption that women are the weaker, more delicate sex in constant need of male assistance. When a man insists on holding a door for a female CEO who is his boss, his well-intentioned gesture can subtly undermine her authority in that moment. It can feel less like an act of service for her and more like a performance for his own identity as a gentleman. The same semantic war is being fought over words like ma'am. In some parts of the country, it remains the highest form of deference. In others, it has become a word that many women hear as a synonym for old and irrelevant. The new consensus is that true respect is universal. You hold the door for anyone behind you, regardless of their gender, not as a chivalrous act but as a simple, human courtesy. This societal shift away from rigid, traditional roles has also triggered the slow, unceremonial death of formality in our daily lives. Think back to the early days of email, which mimicked the structure of a formal, physical letter. Every message began with a stilted "Dear Mr. Smith" or the famously impersonal "To whom it may concern." In today's hyper-fast, digitally native world, that level of stiffness feels cold and alienating. It creates an unnecessary barrier when a simple "Hi Sarah" or "Hello team" is warmer, more direct, and more efficient. An overly formal email can now read as passive-aggressive or worse, like it was written by an AI bot. This new appreciation for directness has also killed the vague social invitation. The old coy phrase, "we must get together sometime," was once seen as a polite, no-pressure way to express goodwill. Now, it is widely perceived as flaky and insincere. It's a social non-invitation, a way to get credit for being friendly without any actual intention of following through, putting the awkward burden of pursuit on the other person. In a world where everyone's time is a precious and finite resource, modern politeness values clarity above all else. Being direct with a specific invitation, "Would you be free for coffee next Tuesday?" isn't rude, it is the ultimate sign of respect for the other person's time and intelligence. This redrawing of social rules has also reinforced our modern emphasis on personal boundaries, both physical and intellectual. For instance, the old waste not, want not mentality sometimes led to the bizarre custom of a guest or a partner casually finishing food off someone else's plate. This was often seen as a practical, down-to-earth gesture. Today, it's viewed as a startling invasion of personal space and a violation of bodily autonomy. It treats another person's plate as public property. But the most egregious boundary violation in modern etiquette isn't about food, it's about intellect. There was a time when publicly correcting someone's grammar or pronunciation was seen by some as a helpful service. Today, it is almost universally condemned as an act of profound arrogance. It is a social power play. It instantly halts the natural flow of a conversation for one reason and one reason only: to showcase your own intellectual superiority at the expense of someone else's dignity. It is the conversational equivalent of a gotcha moment, a petty act of public shaming that kills connection. Unless you are a teacher in a classroom or someone has explicitly asked you for help, the truly intelligent and polite thing to do is to let it go. Nowhere is this tightrope walk between tradition and modernity more delicate than in our approach to age. The timeless value is, and always will be, respect your elders. For centuries, this was interpreted in one way: you do not question, challenge, or disagree with someone older than you. To do so was a grave sign of disrespect. This rule made sense in a world where elders were the living libraries of a tribe, the sole repositories of accumulated knowledge and wisdom. But in today's world, the definition of respect has evolved. While it is always crucial to be courteous and to value life experience, blindly agreeing with someone just because they are older is now often seen as inauthentic and, ironically, disrespectful. True respect is not demonstrated by silent, unquestioning obedience. It is demonstrated by engaging in a thoughtful, respectful conversation. It means valuing someone's ideas enough to take them seriously, to listen to them, and to discuss them even if you disagree. It is a shift from a rigid hierarchy based on age to a more meaningful, egalitarian exchange of ideas. But this is where the polite conversation ends and the culture war begins. For every person who embraces these evolving social norms, there is another person digging in their heels, holding up a shield of tradition and refusing to surrender. The comment sections are a digital battlefield for this schism. For every point about modern etiquette, there's a powerful, passionate backlash. If you choose to be offended by my good manners, that is your problem, not mine. This is the absolute core of the conflict. A head-on collision between two opposing philosophies. One side believes in intent over impact. Their argument is, my heart was in the right place. I intended to be polite. Therefore, my action cannot be rude. They see the new rules as Progressivism 101, a world gone soft and fragile, where timeless virtues are being eroded by a culture of perpetual offense. They proudly call themselves dinosaurs, clinging to an etiquette they believe represents dignity, character, and a better time. They feel they are being asked to apologize for their very upbringing. The other side believes in impact over intent. Their argument is, it doesn't matter what you meant. What matters is how your actions made another person feel in today's context. They argue this isn't about being easily offended, but about asking for empathy, awareness, and the willingness to adapt. They believe true respect requires you to consider the perspective of the person you are interacting with, not just your own good intentions. So, we are all left trying to walk an impossible tightrope, suspended over a chasm of misunderstanding. Lean too far one way, and you risk being seen as a clueless relic from a bygone era. Lean too far the other way, and you risk being labeled a snowflake, hypersensitive and dismissive of tradition. The fundamental goals of kindness and consideration haven't changed. But the map to get there is constantly being redrawn. In this dizzying walk between tradition and transformation, where the very definition of respect is up for grabs, it forces us to ask a profound question. In a world with two conflicting rule books, how do we build a bridge between the world we were taught and the world we actually live in?